Hey guys, it is day 121 and it is 52 degrees out here today. I'm wearing the Dame certified 2s. Here it is from the side. Here it is from the other side. All right, so I picked this pair up on clearance from Kohl's. They were heavily discounted. This is actually the first day that I've gotten to wear them. I've had them forever and I just have not worn them yet, but I was excited to give them a shot. Now, Dame's brand certified, it's a budget brand from Adidas, and so it's a budget shoe, but for the money, I think it's probably a really, really great pickup. For one, I like the aesthetics. I think it's a great looking shoe. That blue tread there is awesome. Knowing what I know about shoes now, though, that blue tread will probably turn brown in years to come. As a shoe collector, I admit it, I hate paying retail. I like rooting for the underdog. I like seeing value for money, so like I'm a fan of budget models that are good and possibly even far exceed their value proposition, or at least their expected value proposition. Not every household has the ability to drop $200 on a pair of shoes. So I grew up in a household much like that, and the shoes I got were like $20-$30 at Walmart, and if they didn't sell it at Walmart, I didn't get it. And that's pretty much the reason why I have this channel today, because I didn't have those shoes as a kid. And as you be an adult, you start to think back on those kinds of things. You want to give it a shot. And the more I delve into those shoes from the 80s and the 90s, I come to realize that my childhood was just fine. I really wasn't missing much. And the performance models that they were selling, at Walmart, they really weren't that much worse than what was being sold, by the big dogs of Nike. I was made fun of for not having Nike, and going to shoes and Spaldings, Rawlings, and Ewings. But if anything, all of that just made me tougher to stand in the face of all that criticism and just not be afraid to do things differently and to be a loner if I need to be, and to just give a good old fuck you to the face of anybody who wants to throw any criticism my way. It just rolls off, Now I hope to get reconnected with those brands, Ewing and Rawlings and Spalding. I'd love to find those shoes. Now, let's talk about these shoes. First off, I'm not out here playing basketball, but I've got a hardwood floor at home and I test traction on that. And the traction on these shoes are really good. Like, I don't think it's going to steer you wrong. You may not have the best traction in the world, but you're going to have pretty darn good traction, especially for the money. The aesthetics look really nice. They share a similar design language from his signature shoes. So it's not looking like you've got some cheapie on your foot. I love it when a budget model can include some nicer materials, and this one does that in the upper. Does a really great job. It does not look or feel cheap. Shoes like this and the Under Armour Lockdown, like the Lockdown, I think maybe 6. I can't say that one specifically, but I know the 7 has, it includes some nicer, little more premium feeling materials than your basic budget shoe. But there's a huge difference between those two shoes. I was at Ross Dress for Less. I saw a really nice, clean looking Lockdown 7. They were all white and they just looked really great. The soles, I think, were like a light blue. They were just super clean, so I had to pick them up, and they were like $35. I didn't even try them on in the store, but I should have, because it would have saved me a trip. I got them home and I tried them on, and it was just like bricks, man. And whenever I would take a step, it would just slap, 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 slap. It felt awful. And I thought, like, I'm not going to give up on it because it looks good. So I have some really thick padded insoles from Temu, and I thought, well, I'll try some of those. And these are like these pads are almost like beaded Zoom Air pads in the insole, you know, so it should provide a pretty good amount of cushion. Well, I put it in there and it made it better, but it was still just, the underfoot was just so bad, and it was, again, slap, slap, slap. I was like, I gotta take these things back. Those things suck. So when I was putting these shoes on this morning, I immediately felt that they were stiffer than I would normally prefer in a basketball shoe. But don't get me wrong, like, these aren't like a bad level of stiff. It's just something that I usually don't prefer. I believe it's full length bounce foam, which is going to be fine, and it's going to be durable and should last a long time. So for a budget shoe that has to last a long time, maybe this is like the only pair of shoes that a kid gets to wear for the whole year, I think this is a really, really great shoe. Now, I do have to go ahead and say some of the things that I'm not the biggest fan of. Whenever I stuck my foot in initially, it kind of hugged the top of the midfoot a little bit too snug, and some players may like that for lockdown, but you know, I'm thinking of this from a perspective of, is this shoe going to be comfortable to wear all day? And if it's hugging me too tight from the beginning, I'm not a fan of it. Now, fortunately, the materials are not stiff and they're not unpliable. The materials on the upper feel like they've loosened up enough that it's not really uncomfortable. It's just that initial time I was putting my foot in the shoe. Also, the laces, I'm not a fan. It's not the laces that I have a problem with. It's actually the eyelets are like strings. They're not true eyelets. And so they're very, very loose. I like shoes that I can easily cinch up and kind of pull, and it will hold and retain its tightness all the way throughout. And these laces, unfortunately, don't do that because, again, those eyelets are like strings. So you couldn't like put a lot of tension on that. You possibly could snap it. And my final criticism is that there is a little bit of heel slip in the shoe. When I tied my shoes with the normal tension on my laces, it had some slip. So after a while I had to re-tie them, kind of retension them. And there is still a little bit of heel slip in these shoes, but it's not anything I think that's going to be rubbing the feet or the heel, the back of the Achilles and stuff raw. Because it is very nice and padded back there. It's just, you know, it's just a little nitpick. So I think for the money, especially what I paid on discount, I'm getting a really good shoe with really good traction, a nice feeling plush upper, and some really good aesthetics. This shoe got me thinking, you know, I picked it up for around $50 from Cole. I can't remember if it was shipped to me or I had to go pick it up. I know they didn't have any in store at the time, but I started thinking about from a perspective of a parent. Let's say you were on a really tight budget. Your kid outgrew their shoes. You knew that you needed to get something for them, but you weren't going to be able to get them something super expensive. So you had about $50 to spend, and you had to make the absolute most of it. Well, you have options like this where a budget shoe, which nowadays a budget shoe could be like $100 a shoe, you know. But let's say you have that $100 shoe, but now it's on discount at that store and it's, say, half price, or say it's $55 or whatever. But let's say it's $50. You could go with that option and you'd have yourself a really nice budget shoe like this. But then you could also consider, you know, inventory liquidation stores, you know, like TJ Maxx and Ross Dress for Less and Burlington Coat Factory, or I think they just call themselves Burlington now. Marshalls, places like that. And you might have to go with a performance model, but that's in a less desirable colorway. But you could definitely walk in with $50 and you could get yourself a really nice shoe. It just may not be the colorway that you really would have wanted to wear. But then you have a third option. Places like Facebook Marketplace or Mercari or eBay. And snagging picking up a slightly used performance model that was the top of the food chain like a year or two ago, and now it's a year or two later and you're getting it for a heck of a steal. And I know for myself, I'm doing all three. I'm doing all three for my own child. But if I could only choose one, I would probably have to go with the slightly used models on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or Mercari. And the reason being is I take a lot of time making sure that I'm inspecting the tread wear on each shoe, inspecting any sort of foam damage, stuff like that on a given set of shoes. And if you inspect closely, you get a good feel for the owner of the shoes. Do they honestly look respectable? Do they have good reviews from other buyers? All that kind of stuff. And I'd probably do that, because even a performance model that is 2 years old and slightly worn, even those feel better than brand new budget shoes. And the only reason why I'm canceling out the discount retailers from that equation for a kid is that no kid really wants to go to school in a really ugly pair of shoes. And let's face it, most of the shoes that you find at the discount retailers are in colorways that most people aren't buying. Either the shoe is so loud that everybody's kind of afraid to wear it, or it's too ugly and they don't want to. Yeah, sometimes you can luck out and find some absolute gems. Like the other day, I found a pair of Adidas Evo SLs in a white and kind of a lime green and purple colorway. A lot of boys may not want to wear that though, because again of those colors. Like I remember finding a really nice pair of Vomeros, and but the problem was they were straight purple. But you know what? When I rocked those purple shoes, I got a ton of compliments. So yeah, I'd probably go with a used performance model, just lightly used. And the only thing that might like alter that is if it's like right at the beginning of a school year and you know everybody's going in there with flashy new kicks and you want to send your kid in there with something new as well, then I'd probably opt, it'd be a tough one between the Ross discount retailers and buying a budget shoe. It'd be a tough one, but it'd be down between those two. I'd probably have to side with Ross and Burlington on that. And sometimes you can find some deals at TJ Maxx and Marshalls and the others. But yeah, between those two, you can find a pretty like top tier brand model that is heavily reduced. Though when you're in the $50 market, like I see Nikes all day going for like 60 at those places. But for $50, you can definitely snag a really nice pair of Adidas or something like that. I mean, there's a good chance that the leftover inventory that wasn't sold at Kohl's got sent to Ross anyway, and a person was able to snag these things up for $30, $35, Got a pretty gnarly cloud off in the distance, not looking too good. So before I get rained out, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video and just tell you, again, I think for the money that I paid, they're a really great shoe. I would have never wanted to pay retail for these things though, and I think they're a great shoe for a kid that needs like just one pair for the year. They do seem very durable. They're stable. You're going to get a ton of court feel, and there is enough cushion to not make these things miserable, so you're getting a good shoe with this if you can find it still. So yeah, anyway, that's going to be it. You all take it easy. I'll see you all tomorrow. Later. Hey guys, I forgot that I was going to update you guys on some of the fast food crap that I'm eating on my weight loss journey. I am here at the drive-thru for White Castle. I'm going to try their chicken fajita slider, and I didn't even see this advertised, but apparently they have like a jalapeno cravioli, whatever that is. So we'll give that a shot too. No thanks. Thank you so much. So let's try one of these chicken fajita sliders first. Give it a try, guys. That tastes nothing like a chicken fajita, but it's really good. They went kind of heavy on the sauce, and I'm not complaining about that. I am getting peppers and onions, but I mean, this is not going to remind you of a fajita. The chicken is tender and juicy. Like, it's really good, guys. This is actually quite surprising coming from White Castle. But I don't know, guys. I think I've had some pretty good stuff coming from White Castles lately. Yeah, so that's a win. It comes with what I assume to be like a little bit of some jalapeno ranch. So how about these jalapeno craviolis? Here's what one looks like. We'll go ahead and give one of these a try. Okay, so first my mouth got like the taste of the breading and this sauce, and then like by itself, that was good. And then still kind of hot. It was burning my mouth. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. There's some other flavors going on here. And I have to say, there's enough flavors going on here that I'm not a big fan of it. Trying it again. Yeah, I don't know. I'd sleep on these. They're not great. Like, they might be edible, but I don't know. I'm not a fan. So, all right, that one's a miss. All right, guys, so I just went through McDonald's drive-thru, got this strawberry refresher, and there's chunks of strawberry in here. So drinking it with a straw really isn't exactly ideal. So they have these lids that are a little different to allow you, like basically an adult sippy cup. All right, so I don't think the drink is bad, but you're going to get a lot of the tartness from a real strawberry. And the strawberry pieces, some of them are bigger than the opening, so you're not going to get it out anyway. But it's all right. You just let them float in there. It's kind of a strange taste. Like when, you know, we have artificial strawberry, you have natural strawberry, and we have those expectations for those flavors. Well, this is like almost none of those. Almost like if you mix all those expectations of strawberry and a strawberry Jolly Rancher together, which that alone, that little combination sounds better than this drink actually is. I'm not going to probably get this again, if that tells you anything. Although if I did get it again, it wouldn't be the absolute worst thing I've ever had. I mean, it's definitely drinkable. I'm probably just not going to be asking for it. It's kind of odd. It's almost like the more you drink it, the better it becomes, because your tastes become acclimated to it. Yeah. Like if you had a lemonade, you dumped a bunch of strawberries and a little bit of strawberry flavoring in it. That's pretty much what you have. Yeah, maybe it's not as good as I wanted it to be, but acceptable. All right, that's about it for today's drink. All right, I will hope you enjoyed your day. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me. Later.